I have been looking at women's rights in small-scale fishing and specifically standards related to equality and non-discrimination, but I've been struggling to understand how those are contextualized specifically for women in small-scale fishing and Indigenous women. Where should I start? Which standards should I know of and look at?
That's a very good question, and I think that a good starting point is the CITO General Recommendation 39. Basically outlines that Indigenous women have the same rights as men, including in access to natural resources, land, territories, which of course is going to be really important for women in small-scale fishing when it comes to their livelihoods and food security.
Right, so that covers access to resources specifically. What other aspects does this recommendation go into?
Participation. And it basically says that Indigenous women have the right to participate in all decisions that affect them or their communities. And it's also recognizing other activities that women carried in the fisheries value chain, such as food preparation or community support. So it's already recognizing the role of women when it comes to small-scale fishing.
That sounds like it matters also a lot to rural women. So how does this then connect to the UN Declaration on the Rights of Peasants and people working in rural areas, the UNDROP?
This is very interesting. So it talks about these same topics, decision-making, participation, access to land, access to resources, but it also includes some standards on access to education, for example, or capacity building. So it's basically reinforcing what we have talked about.
And if we then tie it back to fishing, knowing that the SSF guidelines exist, do they add anything new to that?
Yeah, for sure. And I think the SSF guidelines are the most practical and straightforward approach. So it basically outlines that women should have equal rights and opportunities in the small-scale fishing sector, but also in the communities themselves. And one really important thing is that it tackles directly gender-based violence and discrimination, but also sheds light on that work that is usually unseen, that is carried out by women, which is a really important element in small-scale fishing.
Thank you so much, Juan. That ties it all quite nicely together, and it also comes back to what we covered earlier, being the invisibility of women in small-scale fishing, as well as the different aspects of gender-based violence. So yeah, thank you so much, Juan, for connecting these dots.